Where your treasure is, there will your heart be also. God has given us unlimited treasures in His Word. Every time we open it, we can discover a new treasure or admire an old one. What will we find today? Here's Carla Early with Treasure Hunt in the Word.
We used to have outdoor cats. I loved watching them stalk their prey, usually a bird or a squirrel. They'd creep up slowly, almost imperceptibly. Then when they were close enough, they'd pounce. Sometimes they were successful and sometimes they weren't. If they were, they'd proudly trot over to the porch to display their triumph to the world and enjoy their treat. Once we had a young cat named Waffle. He was still learning how to stalk and pounce when a turkey vulture landed in the yard. Now, Waffle knew birds were a tasty treat, so he started skirting the area where the bird had landed. But as he stalked closer, I could see the moment he realized, this bird is a bit too big for me. He stopped and looked around to see if anyone was watching. Out of pride, he stalked a few more steps, but he was obviously hesitant. What would he do with this thing if he caught it? And would it put up a fight? At that thought, he slinked off, obviously embarrassed. He knew that thing was way too big for him to take on. I think that happens to Satan quite frequently. He picks out a victim and starts to stalk them. But then their big brother Jesus shows up, and Satan slinks off, knowing he's no match for the Lord. He's been up against him before, and it has not worked out well for him. One word in John 1:5 has been translated several different ways. Now, when that happens, you know that the Greek word is just difficult to understand, or at least to translate into what makes sense in English. This verse says, "The light shines in the darkness, and the darkness did not comprehend it, or can never extinguish it, or had not overcome it, or apprehended it not, or did not perceive it, or has not mastered it, or did not grasp it." You see what I mean? Literally, the Greek word means to pounce. Satan, the darkness, cannot pounce on the light, Jesus. Throughout the centuries, Satan had tried to stop God's plan. He knew the Messiah would come from Abraham's family, so he had tried to get rid of them in Egypt by getting the king to kill all the baby boys. Yet they flourished. He had tried to wipe them out in battle many times, but God was always on their side. He led them into sin, slowly and stealthily, so God would get angry and destroy them. But though God sent them into captivity, He brought them back and renewed His covenant with them. Satan tried to kill them off when he had Haman set a date for them all to be annihilated. But God used Queen Esther to change the king's mind and make it a day of rejoicing instead. When Jesus was born, the enemy got Herod to have all the babies of Bethlehem killed. But God warned Jesus' adopted father, Joseph, in a dream, and he was safely headed to Egypt with Mary and the baby before the soldiers came. Then when Jesus was crucified, Satan thought he'd finally won. He had pounced and extinguished the light. You can imagine his celebration. Until the morning of the third day, when the tomb opened and he realized that Jesus had risen in triumphant victory and all was lost. The light was still shining brightly and he could never overcome it. When we come to know Christ, His light shines in us. Satan knows he can't pounce on the light and put it out because he's been burnt before, but he tries all he can to keep us from shining our brightest. Has Satan tried to dim the light in you with discouragement, deceit, or any of his other tricks? Don't let him. Shine your light brightly today.
You can contact us at treasurehuntintheword@gmail.com. We'd love to hear the treasures God has given you through His Word. You can listen to other episodes at our website, which you can find in the description below. Thanks for listening, and remember, where your treasure is, there will your heart be also.